I literally just woke up. Good morning. And I came in here to write because like God was just talking to me as soon as I was getting up, and I had to write it down because it was such a beautiful perspective. So he took me back to Genesis, like back to literally the beginning. And Genesis 1 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters." So that's Genesis chapter 1 and 2. So in the beginning, the first thing that we see in the Bible is a solution. The first thing that we see in the Bible is an invention, a creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then in verse 2, it introduces us to the problem, right? It's telling us why the heavens and the earth were created, because the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. So there was chaos, there was confusion, there was no order. So the first thing, and this is something God told me during the week, it's now coming back to me. Well, when I was in church, I've heard people say before that marriage was the first institution that God set up. But the first institution that God set up was actually not marriage, right? This is my revelation. The first thing that God set up was order. It was order. And that is where creativity, true creativity, comes from. It comes from order. When we set things in order, creativity can flow. When we set things in order, we can think clearly. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw the light and it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So those are the first few chapters of Genesis, and you can go back and you can read it for yourself and you can get your own revelation. And I would love it if you went back and you read it and then you come back here and you tell me what your understanding of this is. But God created order. And many times the reason why we cannot think clearly, the reason why we cannot see our way, the reason why the vision is so fuzzy in the background of our lives is because we have not created order. And this is why, he's making me go back to the vision sequence, and I'm improving the vision sequence going forward for the people who I'm going to be working with, and putting heavy emphasis on planning, putting heavy emphasis on personal space, like literal physical personal space, putting heavy emphasis on routines, because these are the things that support the goals. So very often what we do is we set the goal, but we don't set the infrastructure in place to support the goal. So yes, you want to lose the weight. Yes, you want to improve the relationship. Yes, you want to save a certain amount of money by the end of the year. You want to start investing, whatever it is. But you find that every time you do something, something happens, and you get derailed, and you don't know how to come back from that distraction. You don't know how to come back from that derailment because there are so many things happening inside of you. There's this swirl of things happening inside of you. But what does it tell us in chapter 2? The Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. God was not in the chaos. He was above it. And we have to get to the point where we are above the problem. Right? How do we get above the problem? You cannot hover if you are heavy. If you are so weighed down with the concerns of your life and the concerns of everything that is happening within you, you cannot get to a higher place because it's pulling you down. It's keeping you not grounded, right? Because Sometimes we glorify being grounded. We glorify being grounded when we are supposed to elevate. There are seasons of elevation in your life where you have to put everything down. You have to lay everything down. It's like you're standing there and you have these two heavy bags, and these bags are just holding you, but you're holding them. You're holding the bags. It's not that you're tied to them. You are holding them. And if you would just let them go, you can actually rise higher. See yourself floating up higher. See yourself looking down on everything that is concerning you. That is the place you plan from. That is the place you plan from. The Bible says that we are seated with Christ in heavenly places. The war that we face is in heavenly places. You cannot get to a heavenly place holding on to the heaviness of this world. You cannot get into a creative place, into a creative mindset, holding on to the heaviness of this world. You have to let it go. And you let it go from within.